Something feels profoundly wrong with our world today. That constant knot of anxiety you feel as you scroll through endless feeds isn't a personal failing, but a natural response to a collective, systemic madness. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unravel the scientific mystery behind all that digital fatigue. We'll discover exactly how our ancient biology is literally violently colliding with exponential technology. You see, we're living in a completely unprecedented era, and to understand why we're all just so exhausted all the time, well, we need to take a really close look at the design of our digital world and compare it to the design of our own brains. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the Great Evolutionary Mismatch.
So, the hidden biological mechanism driving our modern burnout is what scientists call an accelerating evolutionary mismatch. Think about it. Our Paleolithic brains evolved over hundreds of thousands of years for a really simple, predictable world, right? We were wired to detect immediate physical threats, and our entire existence was intimately bound to a tight-knit physical community. But today, our modern reality is defined by exponential technological change. It's a relentless barrage of digital micro-decisions in a completely screen-bound existence. Basically, our civilization is moving way faster than our biology can adapt. We've moved from lives that were simple but physically brutal to lives that are incredibly complex but physically effortless. And honestly, our brains are just completely overwhelmed by this rapid-fire reality.
Which brings us to Section 2, Inside the Attention Economy.
Now, the mechanics of this digital trap, they are absolutely no accident. Tech platforms essentially act like a giant dopamine lever for our brains. If you give a rat a lever that stimulates its pleasure center, it'll press it endlessly, completely ignoring food and sleep. Well, our phones are that lever. These platforms literally monetize human attention, maximizing your engagement for profit. They use these variable reinforcement loops, like the totally unpredictable nature of notifications, to keep you checking your device over and over again. This totally fragments our time and destroys our concentration. It even blurs the lines between free time and labor, because you're just always reachable, always on. We're essentially kept in a state of ceaseless mental slavery, constantly reacting to a random, overwhelming flood of incoming messages.
Moving right along to Section 3, the paradox of infinite choice.
So, this constant stimulation actually weaponizes our freedom of choice. Just look at this number, 35,000. Research conducted before the smartphone era estimated that a human being makes around 35,000 decisions a day. Now in the digital age, that number has completely skyrocketed. Because every single app interaction you make is a micro-decision that secretly drains your cognitive battery. Think about it. Which notification do you open first? Which of the 3 GPS routes do you take? Do you accept the autocomplete suggestion or do you keep typing? When do you finally stop the infinite scroll? Now, these might seem like really trivial choices, but here's the catch. Your brain doesn't actually distinguish between big and small decisions when it comes to cognitive load. It all adds up, leading to a profound choice exhaustion. Studies actually show that decision fatigue fundamentally impairs your judgment. It's exactly why you're way more likely to fall for clickbait or, make a poor financial decision late in the afternoon. You're literally exhausted before lunch simply from swiping and clicking. Now, different human minds handle these infinite choices in vastly different ways. Psychologist Barry Schwartz identified 2 distinct types of decision makers. On one side, we've got the maximizers. These are the folks who seek the absolute best possible outcome. They try to analyze all available options, which, let's be honest, in the digital age is kind of impossible. As a result, they're highly prone to regret and anxiety. But on the other side, we have satisficers. These folks seek what is simply good enough. The moment they hit their personal threshold of acceptability, boom, they make a choice and move on. They don't obsess over what they might have missed. And the research is really clear here. Satisficers are fundamentally happier because they entirely avoid that debilitating choice paralysis.
Let's dive into Section 4, the social comparison trap.
Because maximizers are constantly searching for that perfect choice, they are incredibly vulnerable to what psychologists call upward comparison and extreme FOMO, the fear of missing out. When they're scrolling through the highly curated, seemingly perfect lives of their peers online, it triggers a highly sensitive reaction and an elevated negative mood. Satisficers, meanwhile, maintain a much lower sensitivity and a stable mood. Basically, in an age of infinite feeds, the constant need to maximize is an absolute recipe for deep unhappiness.
That leads us right into Section 5, Digital Isolation and Loneliness. You see, for over 95% of human history, our normal was living in tight-knit, deeply communal settings, like a Bayaka hunter-gatherer camp. Isolation was incredibly rare. But today, we face modern phenomena like hikikomori. This is a severe form of social withdrawal first identified in Japan,
where individuals withdraw entirely into cyberspace, completely refusing face-to-face contact. It perfectly captures how our ancient, hardwired need for a physical tribe has been totally short-circuited by a digital escape.
And the neurological reality behind this is pretty shocking. Social exclusion actually shares the exact same neural underpinnings as physical pain. For our ancestors, being isolated from the group meant certain death from predators or starvation, right? So our brains evolved to process loneliness as a literal mortal threat. When we experience modern digital loneliness, our bodies are absolutely flooded with stress hormones. We stay in this chronic state of hypervigilance and anxiety simply because our brain actually thinks we're going to die without our tribe. It's wild.
All right, let's wrap things up with Section 6, Reclaiming Your Digital Mind.
The good news here is we aren't just helpless victims of algorithms. You can actively fight back against decision fatigue by artificially reducing your options. Let's break it down. Number 1, decision batching. Group similar tasks together, like only checking your email twice a day. Number 2, rule-based shortcuts. Steve Jobs famously wore the exact same outfit every single day. That's a rule that completely eliminates a daily decision. Number 3, strict time limits. Give yourself a maximum of, say, 5 minutes to pick a movie on Netflix. If the time runs out, just pick the top one or go read a book. And number 4, building decision-free zones. Try setting up a morning routine where you do the exact same sequence of things before 9 a.m. without even having to think about it. The goal is to stop sweating the small choices so you can save your mental energy for the big ones.
All of these steps build toward a cohesive lifestyle change, designing your own decision diet. Just like physical nutrition, you have to build a ruthless diet for your mind. You need to cut out empty decisions, like agonizing over which Instagram filter or emoji to use. Honestly, they just don't matter. You also must eliminate junk decisions. That's the doom scrolling and engaging with rage-bait headlines that are actively harming your mental health. By doing all this, you're preserving your cognitive battery. That way, you can focus exclusively on truly impactful, nutritious decisions, like nurturing your real-world relationships, planning your career moves, and actually caring for your physical health. In a world of infinite options, the ultimate choice is choosing not to choose. Stepping back from the endless digital buffet is the absolute best way to protect your mental energy and transform your life. So, looking at your own screen right now, what are you going to choose not to choose today?